Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, global population. Sam Fisher here. Okay, well, I think it's time to get back to work, don't you? So, this has been a long time coming. For long-time viewers, you know why this episode has probably taken a while, and this is because of circumstances in my personal life that have made it difficult to do any kind of research, really, or look into anything. I had other things that I had to contend with. But needless to say, we're back on track. So this is episode 4 of Epics, Wars and Maybe Alien Tech Series 2. And it's going to be just like the France episode, an introduction to Romania and Georgia, because both of them need separate episodes on their own, I think, or they will do eventually. Particularly Georgia, and in some respects Romania as well. But with regards to Romania, this is going to be more of a quick glance at Romania, because the Georgian aspect is more important. Now, with regards to the mythologies of the area of Romania, it sort of coincides a lot with other Black Sea Basin sort of mythologies, such as the Ukrainian myths, Bulgarian, Georgian, of course, the south western Russian sort of area, and of course Anatolia, which is part of Turkey, and across to Armenia, etc. There is a lot of anomalous sites, particularly off the Romanian coast. In fact, there's quite a lot off the Romanian coast that needs a further sort of scrutiny, along with their myths and some of the underground sites that are there. I'm still acquiring a lot of information on them, but I have a feeling it could be equally as important maybe as the Donbass region of Ukraine, and this is because of the sheer number of events surrounding the Ukraine, well, the Romanian area. Of course, Transylvania is in Romania, everyone knows about that. And as I've said before, for some reason the paranormal seems to follow the ancient human tech aspects of this, and Romania is chock full of it. It's also where you find the Romani gypsies, obviously, and their mythologies are quite extensive, quite vast, and something else that Hitler during World War II tried to eliminate, along with the Slavics, for many reasons. Yeah, Romania has a rich history. Everyone knows about Vlad the Impaler, who was the king of the Wallachians. But there was also his brother-in-law on the other side of the Carpathian Mountains, was the ruler of Wallachia, who was also very, he was allied with the Hungarians, which made him a bit of an enemy of good old Vlad. But there's also more, there's a lot more there, but I'll go into that, I'll go into more detail about that in a separate episode. As for Georgia, Georgia on the other hand, and Kabardino-Balkaria, that is the area of Russia on the border of Georgia. Which is there's a mountain range that goes through it. I forgot what it's bloody called. Caucasus. Caucasus Mountains. That region has a very very peculiar history and very peculiar mythology, because it mirrors that of the UK. Georgia has the same patron saint. St. George has the same story about him fighting a dragon, needing a weapon to use to fight the dragon that's hidden somewhere. It's actually hidden inside a mountain in Kabardino-Balkaria, which we'll get to in a minute. They also have their own Arthurian sort of legendary hero figure, whose name escapes me. I'll put it across the bottom. But like I said, their mythology ties is extremely similar to that of the UK's own mythology and legends. Which brings up the question, why? Now, I've long argued that the Aratta were the descendants of the Doggerland civilization that left that area when the area flooded and became the English Channel. Some went to the west, or across onto what would become the United Kingdom. Some went northeast, across Scandinavia, and establishing several cultures along Scandinavia, throughout Scandinavia, and also some travelled through Europe, down through France, Switzerland, Italy, down through Greece to Bosnia, and then across Kosovo and Serbia, up and round to Hungary and blah, blah, and just basically spread out around that whole area, eventually establishing the Kingdom of Aratta in Ukraine, or rather the capital city of Tripalia, which is where Azovstal is now. That's beside the point. They very likely brought those same legends with them when they carried on around that area. But for some reason they were more concentrated and more upheld in Georgia for some strange reason. Their tales talk of men coming across the sea to hide something in the mountains, and they basically took apart the mountain top, encased something in it, and then built the mountain around it. Now, where this mountain is slap bang in the middle of the Caucasus Mountains. It's also slap bang in the middle of the land bridge between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Now, I've mentioned this countless times before. What you're going to see now, or you should be seeing now, are several pictures of what's inside this mountain. Inside, that's, like I said, it's on the Kabardino-Balkaria side of the border between that and Georgia. This thing's huge, absolutely massive. Likewise, the blocks that are outside, on the outside of the mountain, they are also huge and obviously man-made and put there for a reason. It literally appears that they did actually build a whole mountaintop around this structure that's inside it. Stemming out either way, either side of this mountain are several lakes going in either direction. These, like one set of lakes going towards the Caspian, one set of lakes going towards the Caspian, and one set of lakes going towards the Black Sea. These things are pretty much perfectly round. No one's entirely sure how deep they go. They're absolutely huge, and all of them are acidic, which is a common trait that it has with the actual Black Sea itself. The Black Sea is very acidic. It doesn't really harbour that much life. In fact, there's very little of it. Likewise, the Caspian is pretty much the same, but the Caspian is losing water. Now, I've often argued that the reason why is because that thing inside that mountain, inside that mountain, is basically a gravity pump. But one side is closed off, so it's no longer emptying from the Black Sea area anymore into the Caspian. It's just emptying from the Caspian, because the Caspian's been losing water for centuries, pretty much. It's slowly drying up. Now, they're trying to blame it on climate change, but that's rubbish. It's bollocks. So why is it there? Well, I mentioned this before a couple of times in a few of the podcasts that I've done with Matty Moore, and also one of my Mind Diarrhea episodes, that it's very likely that they were mining lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli, for those who don't know, is it's almost entirely pure form of marble. Marble's quartz. What's quartz doing? Well, for one, it's piezoelectric, so it generates its own electricity. Quartz is also very good at storing data, so they've been discovering. Essentially, a disc the size of a 10p piece, or if you're American, a dime, or if you're European, I've no idea. Probably the size of a euro, maybe. Something that big could hold, I think it's 500 terabytes of information just on something that small. Obviously, the purer the quartz that you use, the more information that can be stored. I've long argued that this is what they were mining in the area, because there was a wealth of trade going through there, just in lapis alone, and there's still traces of it around. And mainstream academics know that it was there. There must have been quite a lot there, because it grows in quite large quantities. So where's it all gone? So that gravity pump could have been utilised as a sluice gate, basically, there to wash the lapis off, and also cool it as they cut it. And it seems very much like they were strip mining it in huge, massive way. So why is all this important? Well, no one's quite sure how the, I've already mentioned this before, no one's quite sure how the Black Sea Basin filled up. There's something that caused it. They've got a general idea of when, but they can't decide on how. Now, this is just my own personal theory, but when you read into the Sumerian myths about the tablets of destiny and there being a weapon, I began to think that, because in Anna, when she was fighting the war over them with the two brothers, she hid them on Earth, so it says. It doesn't say where, because they couldn't find them, but she hid them somewhere where she knew she could get to them. My theory is that she hid them somewhere inside the Black Sea Basin, or at least the entrance to where they were in the Black Sea Basin, and she basically opened the floodgates of that gravity pump. She killed it off on one side, the Black Sea side, and just allowed the Caspian to just flow into it. This filled it up, making finding the entrance pretty much impossible, unless you knew where to look. The idea that the tablets of destiny being a weapon could be true, but I think it's more a control system. A control system that's made out of lapis. It's just a crazy theory, alright? Don't start jumping down my throat. I know what you're going to be doing, all your history buffs, but this is just my own personal take. And I mentioned what for before in my first Mind Diarrhea episode. I think this was the same weapon that the Georgian legends go on about. Their Arthurian and St. George legends. Because he's searching for a weapon of unimaginable power. Exactly the same kind of sort of legends that we have in Arthurian legends in the UK, along with our St. George myth. There's more to come on this, though. I'll definitely take a closer look at the Georgian myths and legends in a future episode. So this is, like I said, it's just an introduction, but I think we'll leave it there. As always, check in the description below, check out all the links. You'll find links to books on Georgian myth, books on Romanian myth, Aratta, everything down in the description. And I think our next episode we'll start looking at the UK. We'll get a bit deeper into that. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, you know the drill. See you later.